We're back. What is going on, everybody? After a small summertime hiatus, we are back. Welcome to a mostly recruiting-centered episode of the Coach and the Couch Potato. As always, I'm Jeremy the Couch Potato. Opposite side of the screen, we got Coach Slate, and we are going to catch you guys up on all things that we think we have missed in the last week and a half. As always, we are here courtesy of the Barn Baseball and Softball Academy, and we are amped to be back in the grind. We are 48 days away from kickoff.
That's crazy, man. It's so crazy. Football is here. First day of practice for me tomorrow, so I'm ready to go.
Heck yeah. It's that's wild. So no more August 1st thing.
No, yeah, you have your 15 days. They OHSAA up the days that you can have, and so we've got like our first like official helmets practice tomorrow. So we're amped up, man.
That's dope. That way you're not wearing, you're not wasting part of August on your get acclimated period, do equipment and stuff. Yeah. So awesome. Well, cool deal. While we were gone, 3 booms. Couple guys we've talked about. Cam Bickl, the DT from IMG Academy, commits to the Buckeyes. Jir Perez, another D tackle. We've talked about this dude a lot. Massive human being. I actually screwed up and wrote 300 or 230 on my paper. He's 330. So as much as everybody wants to crap on Larry Johnson, D tackle this cycle is elite.
Yeah, the D tackle this cycle is pretty good, man. And we've talked about Cam Bickl a ton. I think this is a guy who is another big body. He's going to get to, probably 315 pounds. He's going to be that big. I think he's got position versatility. Could be a 3 technique. He can also play nose as well. Big, violent, physical hands. He's got long arms. He can just do a lot of different things. Obviously, this is a guy that's very serious about his craft. Anytime you go to IMG, yes, you're really wanting to get better, and you're very serious about what you do. So I think Cam Bickl, very underrated, very similar to Kerry Wilder. Somebody that I just think, is going to come in, maybe not as heralded as others, but the Buckeye fans should be super excited about him because he's just going to be another big body that we can add to that interior. And the same goes for Jir Perez. This is a guy, obviously that Glenville pipeline, you got to keep that open. Anytime you get these big bodies in the state of Ohio, the 330 plus nose tackles, the true SEC style nose tackles, you got to keep them in the state of Ohio. There's no way you can ever let them leave. And so we did a good job of making sure we got, him flipped and not going down to the state of Florida. And so I'm really excited about him. You listen to some of the stories since he's committed, the Buckeyes wanting to see him change his body a little bit before, they pulled the trigger on the offer and different things like that. And then when he came back and they said, we see that you're not this big 360-pound kid anymore. You're 350 pounds or 345 pounds, and you look like a grown man. Like, this is a guy who wanted that Buckeye offer, and I just think he's going to be a force. And again, you get him with Coach Mick, and these are the type of guys that win you games. I mean, you just dominate the interior, shut down interior run. You see what happens in the state of Michigan when we play those guys, what happens when they have those big bodies inside and they dominate the interior with the Mason Grahams and the Kenneth Grants. These are the type of guys that we need to get, and I think we got 2 of them just in the last week or so.
Yeah, absolutely. And then obviously July 3rd, got our quarterback, Luke Fahey. Another guy we talked about, and I think a lot of people are sleeping on this kid. Obviously it was always going to be hard to get a top tier quarterback in 26. We've talked about that a lot. There's some interesting things, I think, with the 27 class. There's talk of 2 quarterbacks, including the kid, I can't think of his name. He's the number 1 quarterback in the class. There's some serious smoke there. Okay. Which is really weird. But, that's a long way away. Our rule of thumb has always been we try not to talk about the 27 kids until, or the 26 kids until we're in that, that class.
Yeah.
So, um, and then as far as kind of what's forthcoming, real quick before we get into some stuff that kind of ties together, Jerquady and Guilford, the technically a 3-star from Fort Wayne, Indiana, was supposed to commit a few weeks ago, but decided to hold off as he did his diligence. Ohio
Hmm.
State, Indiana, Ole Miss. He is now committing this Friday the 18th. He was fonged to the good guys, but as we're going to discuss, I don't mean nothing.
Yeah. Yeah, you never know in the world of NIL and what we're trying to figure out and what NIL is supposed to look like now that the House bill is passed. Like nobody knows what's going on, man. So it truly means nothing right now.
Yeah, and that might be an understatement.
Yeah.
So as far as Guilford goes, this guy is a kid who we talked about it when we initially started recruiting him. This kid's good.
Yeah. Yeah, man. I don't know what it is about the state of Indiana, but there's just some ballers there, man, at the receiver position. We see it with Mylan Graham and now with this Guilford kid. I mean, he is just an underrated player. And you see, I believe it's down to Ole Miss and Ohio State. I think those
Hmm.
are his final two. Look at the receiver talent that has come out of those two schools in recent history. And so there's no shortage of talent out of this kid. I mean, he can absolutely play. And I think Coach Hart identified this at a very early stage. And I think that is going to hold a lot of weight with Guilford. And so I hope this is a kid who ends up with the Buckeyes because I think this is a kid who's a diamond in the rough. And if we get him, I think this is a guy that in 2, 3 years we're going to be talking about being a really good player for the Buckeyes.
Yeah, absolutely. So we kind of digressed there for a second, where we're talking about the Wilfong bomb. So that leads us to discussing. We had 4 targets come off the board since we last recorded. Um, 3 of those, I would say, were holy hell roller coaster. Like we kind of saw it with the Ohio State USC Luke Wayful recruitment.
Yeah.
Um, this stuff is nuts. Uh, I don't know that it's ever been as fluid as it is now. Probably of the 4 guys that came off the board, the least intrigue was Carter Meadows to
Yeah.
Michigan. Potential wise, Carter Meadows might be the best dude off this list.
Yeah. No doubt.
But if Carter Meadows doesn't come in and work and live up to the potential, I don't think this is a massive loss. I'm not just saying that because he went to Michigan. Like he is a kid who you recruited based on potential.
Yeah. Yeah, the upside with him and the traits you are projecting that this is a kid who is going to be that physical specimen and is just going to out athlete and just be a freak out there on the edge. And so when you get a kid like this, that's what you're projecting. And so, whether he went to Michigan, if he committed to Ohio State, it doesn't matter. You're hoping that he gets on campus and he is going to be that hard worker, that grinder that's going to push and try to reach that full potential. And so it's unfortunate that he did go to the team up north because, if they're able to get that out of him, watch out because he does have that type of ability, right? And so you just don't know. And obviously it's not just with him, it's with all these kids. A lot of times it's going to be projection, but with him specifically, the athletic ability is off the charts. I mean, he
Yeah.
is potential wise, like you said, probably on this list of guys that we missed out on. I think potential wise, he had the highest ceiling. There's no doubt about that.
Yeah, absolutely. So then we go to Landon Barnes, who we both really, really like,
Yeah, man.
from Duncanville. You know, there was a lot of positive OSU smoke, and then poof, he's
Poof.
going to Ole Miss.
Yeah.
Uh, and that's not even the wildest of the 4. Um, KJ Ford, his Duncanville, Texas teammate. Ohio State, it sounds like, had kind of fallen by the wayside. This came down to a Bama Florida battle.
Okay.
All the smoke was Florida. And then Fong bomb to Alabama.
Okay.
The next morning of the day of his commitment, Fong to Florida. Like, holy hell. Like, it's just insane.
Yeah.
I don't even know. Like, put yourself in these kids' shoes. I understand, like we've always said, get your money.
Absolutely.
But, Alabama, Florida. Alabama had some pains with DeBoer last year.
Mm-hmm.
Billy Napier is a dead man walking. I mean, he is not going to have a job after this year.
Yeah, I mean, and it's unfortunate too because Billy Napier is a good coach, man. He is.
He is.
He's so good. Um, it's a tough spot for those two guys, to those two coaches specifically. You got DeBoer who's coming in, he's following Nick Saban, man. Like that,
Right.
it's one of the hardest jobs ever. And so, yeah, you're going to pay that little extra money to make sure you're getting these top guys. And Florida is Billy Napier is fighting for his job, and so he wants to show that hey, I can still go out and get these top national recruits, and I can still out recruit Ohio State, right? Even though you didn't out recruit Ohio State, you outpaid Ohio State, and that's what it comes down to. And so, and then God, the Fong bombs. I feel bad for him. I don't.
Yeah.
I don't know what his batting percentage is right now, but it's not the best. I mean, he's taking information that he's getting from all sorts of places, and it's tough. You really don't know, man. It's just crazy. It's crazy times.
Yeah. So probably the wildest, that we saw while we were gone. Felix Ojo, all-world tackle, but again, I'm not saying even if he was coming to Ohio State, we knew he wasn't coming to Ohio State. I think Felix Ojo's got some Kevin Durant in him.
Okay.
There is a clip, and it just happens to be Kari Wilder owning him at a Rivals camp.
Yeah.
So Ojo goes Kevin Durant, and he goes, you can't judge anybody, and you can't judge a guy by camp.
Yeah.
But the fact that you have read so much of what people are saying and you've let it bother you, you have gone full-scale KD and taken to Twitter to defend yourself.
Yeah, man.
So Ojo, I think his final three was Texas, Michigan, and Ohio State.
Yeah.
We all knew he wasn't coming to Ohio State. We've said for 3 months he was going to Texas.
Yeah.
And I think Texas A&M might have been on the table too. And there came some smoke for them. Announcement day comes. You start to hear a dark horse team. Not even in his final four. I don't even think he had a hat for him. Felix Ojo commits to Texas Tech. Now granted, I did find out, I did a little bit of digging. Texas Tech can play the NIL game.
Oh, there's no doubt.
We saw it with the softball team.
Yeah.
They have 2 alumni who are billionaires.
Yeah.
Who are footing the bill. So you just saw a kid, a top 10 in the country kid. It's not like this is some kid who was a late bloomer. And, I had this, and that laid out, and then Ohio State calls me.
Yeah.
Or I'm a Midwest kid and Alabama calls me. This kid is from the South, knew he was staying in the state of Texas, and then Texas Tech calls him. Now, granted, Texas Tech was his first offer.
Yeah.
So there is a relationship there. But we are now witnessing insanity when it comes to recruiting. I don't know any other way to put it. As somebody who loves recruiting, I love it. I'm here for it. Spread these kids out everywhere.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I'm all for, the top athletes, top recruits going to different schools and creating their own footprint and not just following the trends, right? But at the same time, don't release a top 3 and then commit to a school that's not in that top 3. You know what I mean?
Right.
I'm obviously you do what you want to do, but I think that just lets you know, that's the motivation maybe that you're just looking for you're just chasing the biggest bag. And again, go do that. This is life-changing money. And if the figures are right, I think it was like $2.6 million per year or something like that, something crazy that he was going to get to go to Texas Tech. Hey man, go do it. You're not guaranteed to have that NFL career that you think you may have because of injuries and things like that. So, not knocking you for doing it, but one thing that we can't do as Buckeye fans is get upset that we aren't playing that game yet. And like that's one thing that we've got to make sure that we stay focused on, man. Like we have to stay focused on the type of character and guys that we're going after. Not saying that Felix is a bad kid. I'm sure he's a fantastic kid, probably
Right.
comes from a fantastic family. But we just got to stay locked in on who we're going after and the kids that want to be Buckeyes and are going to come to Columbus for the right reasons. And so Texas Tech, listen, man, they can play the NIL game. Like you said, billionaires in the backyard. You got Pat Mahomes. You got all these. He's got a lot of money down there, man. So, shout out to them for coming in at the midnight hour and making that happen because that was crazy. I was not expecting that at all.
Yeah. So you mentioned his numbers. And so this will go ahead. And one of the things we wanted to talk about is there's a lot of gray area with NIL right now. The House bill passed, which is supposed to regulate this. The consensus out there amongst a lot of people is that there are a lot of contracts that this clearinghouse is going to shoot down. The rebuttal to that is that's going to lead to lawsuits.
Yeah.
Basically saying this clearinghouse has zero right. There's another bill that is apparently being worked on to change language already that will alleviate the potential lawsuits thing. So the Ojo contract, you saw like 5.3 over 3 years or whatever the number was.
Yeah.
That's the number. Basically, if the clearinghouse gets shot down to where it's basically business as we're used to with NIL. If the clearinghouse gains traction, doesn't get shot down in lawsuits, his number is $750K a year.
Okay.
Because the big question out there right now is obviously the schools have the $20.5 million revenue number across sports. Ohio State has essentially paused their collectives, which we talked about the collectives way back in the day. The collectives are still helping do things, but it's not essentially free reign for the collectives.
Yeah.
Whereas when they were individual, they could do their own thing. And that's what you're seeing at schools, let's just be honest. Oregon, USC, Michigan, Texas Tech, and probably Florida are operating as if the clearinghouse doesn't exist.
Yeah.
Ohio State fans got really, really upset when NIL first came around because Ohio State treaded lightly.
Mm-hmm.
Ross Bjork is on the board of the committee who initiated this clearinghouse.
Mm-hmm.
Ross Bjork knows better than 95% of people in college athletics how this is supposed to work.
Yeah.
Yes, Ohio State is not offering big numbers. Deuce Geralds, a dude that we both want in this class insanely bad.
Fingers crossed.
is, his numbers that, you're hearing that he's being offered that 750 number from Oregon, Michigan. Crystal Ball's to Oregon right now. Ohio State's offering him like 250,000.
Yeah.
Ohio State is operating as if they have a hard cap.
Yeah.
Nobody else is. Well, not nobody else, because I don't think Alabama's dropping bags like, you know. I think everybody is still. And Berm came out today. Obviously Berm is the GOAT, arguably, of Ohio State media. A lot of people don't like Berm this year because the recruiting cycle's been weird to Berm.
Yeah.
But he basically said Ohio State is sitting there ready to go once one of two things is going to happen. NIL is going to go back to the way it was.
Mm-hmm.
And Ohio State's going to open the war chest.
Yep.
Or the clearinghouse becomes the norm. You're going to see a boatload of dudes decommit from places. And Ohio State's going to have stayed in contact with them.
Yeah.
And it's going to be the money is going to be the same. and now it's a matter of Ohio State versus USC, Ohio State versus Oregon. Guess where most of these kids are going to want to go?
Yeah, for sure. Listen, I'm all about, I'm all about us treading lightly and going about things the right way. I really am. I didn't think I would be originally when this NIL thing came out. We're Ohio State, we're blue blood, we're a big dog. We're in Columbus, Ohio. We got so much money. We're gonna be able to do this, and this. But now, having seen how this has played out, for me, I think the culture is the most important thing, right? And so once these kids are in Columbus, that is where they're going to make a crap ton of money. You're seeing that with JJ Smith, signing with Adidas and different things like that. Like there's so many opportunities that are going to happen when these kids get here. And Ohio State will always have that until the end of time. And so I'm all for us playing the waiting game right now. And I want to see kids come to Ohio State who want to be Buckeyes. And that to me is fantastic. That Jim Tressel quote, when he was talking to the team last year, thank God I got a chance to be an Ohio State Buckeye. Like those are the type of guys that you want to get. That's one of the reasons why I'm going to be rooting like crazy for Luke Fahey, because I found out that he grew up a diehard Buckeye fan, right? And so like those are the things that I am looking for now when it comes to being involved in this NIL game. Now, when the JJ Smiths come along and these generational talents, those are the guys that I want to drop a ton of money on,
Yeah.
because they're game changers, right? Just like any NFL franchise, any professional franchise, those are the guys that you're going to want to pay a crap ton of money to. And so, it's interesting, it's crazy, but I'm all for Ross Bjork, Ryan Day, and everybody else in the Ohio State admin playing this game and treading lightly right now. I'm okay with it. If we're going to be frustrated, it's fine. It worked out for us the first time. I don't see why it's not going to work out for us the second time. So I trust and believe that they have a game plan in place and that they will follow through accordingly when the time is right.
Yeah, absolutely. And ironically, you just kind of threw the lead to the next thing we wanted to talk about real quick. You talked about the staff. Pretty big loss in the personnel department. Sam Patito, a guy we talked about when he came to Ohio State from Bama, and he's a Louisiana native. He's going to LSU.
Yeah.
I couldn't imagine wanting to work for Brian Kelly, but I also get that you don't get the chance to go home, do what you love. Obviously, there's already people freaking out that he's going to try to steal Blaine Bradford. I've never seen a player flip a commitment based on a personnel director.
Yeah.
And Bradford has basically already said, that's not happening.
Yeah.
So we'll throw that out there because we always like to bring you guys those kind of things, because that's the kind of stuff that, you may not always see or hear. Last little recruiting world roster and management type thing is there's a lot of scuttlebutt out there right now that Ohio State wants to add another linebacker. If anything more concrete comes, we'll dive into these guys deeper. The two names out there are Elijah Littlejohn from Charlotte, North Carolina, who is currently committed to Penn State. Always nice to take somebody from them. And then a guy I know Coach Slate loves. Westchester, Ohio, Lakota West, Cam Thomas, who is committed to Illinois.
Yeah, obviously, I'm biased. I'm partial to any Ohio kid. But you turn on the film, I mean, this kid, he's a thumper. He's flying around. He lines up a ton as a true outside backer, defensive end. He even gets, puts his hand in the dirt in a three-point stance. I mean, this is a kid who he's listed at 217 pounds. He actually looks a little bit bigger than that. I would be shocked if he's a true stand-up linebacker. In my opinion, I think he has the ability to do it, but I think he's a kid that you get him to campus and he gets to 240 pounds, and he is that hybrid C.J. Hicks type kid who can play down on the edge and rush a quarterback. I think he's got that type of potential. And, this, again, another kid who I just think, we were recruiting the Jake Cruels and those guys of the world. Like, I think this is a kid who has that type of potential. Now, I'm not the defensive coordinator. They may want him to be a true stand-up linebacker, but if it were me, I would love to see that kid get after the quarterback, man. And so if this is a kid that they want to truly pursue, I think this kid's got a lot of position versatility, something Ryan Day is always going to really push, where he could be that hybrid type of guy like a CJ Hicks, and really play on that edge or be a stand-up linebacker. So big fan of Cam Thomas, man. I'm always going to root for those homegrown guys to get a look for sure.
Yeah, absolutely. So it'll be interesting to monitor that. Because other than that, I mean, really, the recruiting board for the 26 kids is pretty stinking slim. We got the Womack announcement next month. We are in the final 5 for Darius Gray, but he's not coming here.
Yeah.
You've got Derek Cooper and Hyder, and neither one of them are coming here.
Yeah.
We're a hat on a table for a lot of guys, but at this point, it's about focusing on August 30th. It's Texas, so with that kind of stuff, we are going to work this week, and we're going to do a little different this year. We're going to give you guys a preview of what we're going to do. That way obviously it'll be subject to change. With that, we did our pick 'em last year. We're going to move that to ESPN this year. I'll share that on all of our socials. Facebook, X, Instagram. Go follow us there. Once season ramps up, our guy Carson does a great job. Like with the IG especially. He'll put some reels up, put some cool graphics up. And obviously most of our listening comes on YouTube. We have seen exponential number growth. So in conjunction with pushing to 1,000 subscribers, which would be great to get to, we are going to run a giveaway in conjunction with that. There will be more details to follow as to the logistics and the how-to of it. But we are going to give away a signed Eddie George mini helmet.
There we go.
With the Heisman 95 inscription.
Okay.
Which, for anybody that's ever done an autograph signing, that's extra money.
Yeah.
And then, it's not some run-of-the-mill. It is Fanatic certified. So obviously, go pound that subscribe button, comment to help us get to that 1,000. When we get to that 1,000, we'll run the giveaway. Just kind of something fun for us to do. As you guys have always come to find out, we like to have fun. And we are, like I said, we're 48 days away. So obviously the recruiting side of life is going to slow down. And then it becomes real football talk. We'll dive into, like I said, we'll get a schedule together. We'll do all of the things that you guys liked last year. If there's anything you guys want to see from us in a season preview episode, or in that chain of episodes, comment it. Be it on a YouTube video, on a Facebook post, tweet us. Whatever works. Really, really pound those socials for us. The algorithms love it, and we always appreciate you guys. I think that goes without being said, but we're saying it for you, and I think that's all I've got.
Yeah, man, that's all I got, man. Make sure you guys go like and subscribe. Like he said, the growth has been great, man. So we really appreciate your guys' support.
Yeah, absolutely. So with that, we will see you guys next week with some sort of a beginning to the season preview once we figure it out.